We start with a developing story here in Japan. It's been about 3 hours since the Tokyo Stock Exchange suspended all trading due to system trouble. And the question is, for how long is this going to continue? NHK World's Yanaka Marie is at the TSE now to give us the details. Marie.
Hi there, Miki. The Tokyo Stock Exchange has just announced that it'll suspend trading for the rest of the day. The source of the issue seems to be a financial data board that's not displaying stock prices for individual shares. Brokerages across the country say they've been fielding calls from customers all morning. The TSE was supposed to open at 9 a.m. local time. It's now past noon and the morning session has ended without a single trade. The TSE says it'll be the same for the afternoon session. About 3,700 companies are listed on the exchange. The outage is having a major impact on businesses and individual investors. Exchanges in Nagoya, Fukuoka, and Sapporo have also suspended all activity. This is because they also use the TSE system to execute trades. There's no timeline for when they'll reopen, but the exchange in Osaka is currently trading. This is the first time the TSE has suspended all trading since January of 2006. That outage was due to a surge in trading that exceeded the system's processing capacity. The system was developed by Japanese tech giant Fujitsu. The company says it's currently looking into the problem. That's all from the Tokyo Stock Exchange. I'm Yanaka Marie.
All right, we'll see how things develop there. Thank you very much, Marie. A closely watched survey on business sentiment shows an improvement among Japan's large manufacturers. The index in the Tankan report was up, but still in negative territory. The latest quarterly report came out Thursday. It shows that confidence at major manufacturers rose to -27. The Bank of Japan survey covers about 10,000 businesses and gauges how executives feel about the economy. The previous report in June showed that the mood among the manufacturers plunged to -34, while the coronavirus pandemic battered the economy. That result was the lowest since 2009, soon after the start of the global financial crisis. But the improvement in the most recent quarter came as economic activity in Japan gradually got back on track. The Japanese government is further easing restrictions put in place to curb the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, more foreigners will be allowed to enter the country, but one key segment is still being barred from entering: tourists. People who have been approved for medium to long-term visas are now eligible, including medical professionals, students, and business people. But they can only enter if their visa sponsors ensure they stay quarantined for 2 weeks after arrival. The number of people who will be granted entry will also be limited. The government plans to gradually raise the cap as airports expand their testing capacity. Business travel to and from Vietnam, Taiwan, and other places where infections are under control has already resumed. In principle, Japan currently denies entry from 159 countries and territories. The government says it will hold talks with other nations and could allow more people in, depending on how the situation develops. Meanwhile, Japan confirmed over 570 new coronavirus infections on Wednesday, including nearly 200 in Tokyo. It comes as medical researchers are finding out new information about who is most vulnerable if they become infected. The National Center for Global Health and Medicine published a survey about 6,000 coronavirus patients who had been hospitalized since early last month. It shows that people who were in serious condition and had chronic kidney or heart disease had a higher fatality rate. Another risk factor was people with diseases that affect blood vessels and blood supply to the brain. People who are obese or who have hyperlipemia are also at risk compared to people with no pre-existing conditions. The center plans to analyze more factors that could cause conditions to worsen. In total, more than 84,000 confirmed coronavirus cases have been reported across the country, and over 1,500 have died. Police in Hong Kong are on high alert amid the 71st anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. Authorities have been stepping up their crackdown on protesters since a national security law that Beijing imposed on Hong Kong took effect in June. Demonstrations typically take place to mark the day, but they have been banned with police citing the need to counter the coronavirus. But people on social media are still calling for rallies. About 6,000 officers are being deployed in case pro-democracy protesters take to the streets. Barricades were erected around a venue where government officials were set to mark the anniversary. Meanwhile, criticism is mounting over the handling of 12 Hong Kong activists detained on suspicion of trying to smuggle themselves to Taiwan. Families say they haven't received any information since their loved ones were transported to a detention center. They also say the 12 have been denied access to lawyers. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said in a statement that his country is deeply concerned. Turning to India, where another shocking case of sexual violence is once again leading to street demonstrations. The protesters are calling for justice over the gang rape and beating of a teenage girl in the northern state of Uttar Pradesh last month. The 19-year-old succumbed to her injuries in hospital on Tuesday. Like many other victims, she belonged to the Dalit community, the lowest rung in India's ancient caste system. 4 men who are reportedly from a higher caste have been arrested. Adding to the outrage, the victim's family told media that authorities cremated her body in the middle of the night without their permission. India has been wrestling with an epidemic of sexual violence in recent years. In 2012, the fatal gang rape of a young woman on a New Delhi bus sparked nationwide protests and led to tougher penalties. But such reforms have failed to stem the problem. While the government says there were 34,000 sexual assaults in 2018, many cases are believed to go unreported due to social stigma. The International Atomic Energy Agency says it has inspected and collected samples at a site where Iran is suspected of storing undeclared nuclear material. It is the second visit since the two sides struck an agreement aimed at enhancing mutual trust. The IAEA Director General suggested it will take months to determine whether the collected samples contain nuclear substances. Iran's willingness to cooperate with the IAEA has been praised by many countries, but the United States has been trying to rally international support against Tehran. U.S. President Donald Trump pulled his country out of a landmark nuclear deal in 2018. Since then, it has reimposed stifling economic sanctions. Sheikh Nawaf Al Ahmed Al Sabah has been sworn in as the Emir of All-Rich Kuwait after the death of its late ruler on Tuesday. 83-year-old Sheikh Nawaf was sworn in before Parliament on Wednesday. He succeeds his brother, Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Sabah, who was 91. Sheikh Sabah made strenuous efforts to stabilize the Gulf region, playing the role of mediator. The new emir expressed his intention to rebuild the country's economy, which is under strain from low oil prices and the coronavirus. Sheikh Nawaf worked for Kuwait's reconstruction as a social affairs and labor minister after the Gulf War in 1991. He became crown prince in 2006. Attention is focused on whether the new emir can make his presence felt in the region, where tensions between Saudi Arabia and Iran are running high. A group of private companies is helping Japanese police develop a system using AI technology to simulate what wanted fugitives would look like today. The National Police Agency uses posters and its website to display photos of about 630 suspects on the nationwide wanted list. Some of them have been on the run for more than 10 years and look different from their old photos. The companies, including Yahoo Japan, cooperated with the agency on the project. They used more than 20,000 facial photo data to estimate how the suspects' faces would look now in terms of wrinkles and other features. The images are presented in multiple patterns according to differences in hair and weight. Police hope the simulated photographs will lead to accumulation of more information on wanted fugitives from the public. Let's check out the world weather with our meteorologist Tietzi Monare. So Tietzi, people here in Tokyo woke up to gray skies, rainy weather. How long will we have to carry our umbrellas?
Well, fortunately not very long. I looked at the models and I thought, oh my goodness, we might be going for a wet weekend, but it's going to turn out fine. Today is like a little bit of a break from those sunny skies we had to start off the week, but the sunny skies will be returning again, and unfortunately warm weather will also be coming through. Let's quickly first look at the amount of moisture and precipitation that we can expect. We saw this low pressure system started off in Shikoku, moved slightly towards the east, and now is affecting central Japan and along the eastern coast. So places such as Tokyo are seeing a little bit of rainfall, and then there's another low pressure system, could have an impact to Hokuriku as well as over Hokkaido, but we'll keep that monitored. The bad news is that yes, temperatures are slightly getting warmer again over the next couple of days. So by Saturday, Sunday, you could see some really warm weather towards western Japan and also very close towards central Japan. And you need to remember, over the last couple of months, especially in August, we saw a lot of heat strokes and people being taken to hospital because of these hot conditions. And those are set to come back again. So please do be careful. Make sure you stay hydrated and stay cool as much as possible. Look at the temperatures. In fact, Osaka will be 29 on Friday, 30 by Saturday. These are well above average for this time of the year. Tokyo is also included. Kagoshima down in western Japan will also be seeing some slightly warmer than usual temperatures. So please make sure you are safe at all times. And then across the subcontinent in India, we saw some rainy weather right across the central, going all the way towards the western side. And we're expecting more rainfall to come through towards places such as Mumbai and even in towards Chennai. So some flooding could be very possible. So take care at all times and make sure you are not in unsafe zones. Otherwise, hot and dry weather still expected towards much of the United States. In fact, it's remaining quite hot towards Northern California and along the south, going into the Four Corners as well. A little bit of unstable weather towards the Great Lakes and crossing over that Canada-United States border. Things could be slightly cooler there. You can see Winnipeg, single digits, Toronto at about 14, and some moisture and showers are expected there. But extremely hot for the west. Las Vegas into the upper 30s for the next 3 days. Los Angeles also pretty warm. That's all. Leave it for your weather. Take care.